you believe it? Just like that, a whole new era of SmackDown is underway on USA. What is going on, everyone? The WrestlingInc.com after show land. It is a SmackDown after show for September 13th, Friday the 13th, 2024. My name is Flobo Boyce. Of course, as always, not alone. I'm being joined by the intellectual George Hermoza. What's going on, brother?
Good. How are you doing on this happy SmackDown on USA Day?
Yeah, is it? Do you consider this a 25th anniversary? Because I didn't, but the show did. I was kind of confused.
I mean, it just depends, because I know a lot of people that are like, oh, that wasn't the first episode of a SmackDown. It was the pilot episode in April of '99.
That's the worst impression of me I've ever heard.
No, I mean, that's not you. It's all.
I mean, it sounds like me.
That's all the nerds out there. But I mean, I always considered it the August one. It was the Thursday after SummerSlam '99. Actually, I had a bit of trivia for all the Wrestling Inc. I feel like we need a name for them.
Yeah.
You have the Hulkamaniacs, the Little Warriors, the Canaanites.
Right.
We need like something cool for like the Wrestling Inc. people. Maybe
would you play it in the words with the whole incorporated stuff and be like the shareholders or like something weird like that, or
Wrestling Inc. I got it. The Inklings, the Wrestling Inklings.
I don't know. I mean, the average age of our viewership are people in their 30s. I'm not sure they're going to be called Inklings. That's kind of interesting.
Inklites? I don't know. Anybody out there, feel free to make a suggestion. I want to call you guys. Maybe, like you said, the Wrestling Inkles? The Inkles? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Wait.
Either way, let's do that trivia.
You have comment powers too. What the hell are you doing? Yo, shout the crowd, man. Do that and do the trivia back to back.
All right, so we got look at that. We got Adonde Estas with Flo and Hermoza. What's up, guys? What's up, Adonde Estas? Brianne Milligan. Good evening. Good evening to you. Of course, we got Danny Cochran, Antes Glitches with a nice suggestion. Jose.
That sounds like a muscle strain. Oh, my inkies.
well, let's get into the trivia, because I'm a big trivia guy. I'm always all about the trivia that you can't really find on the Wikipedia. You gotta have it up here, right?
We have to give you a drop for that.
I got myself the wrestling Wikipedia, I guess you can say. Or they used to call me the wrestling encyclopedia back in the AfterBuzz days. But if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. So yes, we all remember our first, right? The first ever SmackDown, the first ever real SmackDown. We all remember what that main event was. It was.
Wait, not the pilot, not the April
pilot.
That was the rematch. Triple H versus British Bulldog?
He said it tonight on SmackDown, Flobo.
I'm sorry. I count the April pilot. The corporate ministry to me will always be the first SmackDown time.
That was the creation of the corporate ministry. But he said it. He said, "Oh, I remember 25 years ago, it was me against The Rock. With HBK as a special guest referee. Remember that?
Oh, right. And he turned on him. He's wearing those hot pants. I mean, I don't know why I remember the hot pants. Pause.
And then, of course, we remember the first SmackDown on Fox, right? Unfortunately, that was kind of a little bit of an unfortunate main event, I guess you can say.
In hindsight, I really loved Brock's presentation, but I was in the crowd for that match or the Kofi Brock match, and it wasn't good.
I was in the crowd too. And while this isn't the first time SmackDown has been on USA, so I do want to throw back to the first time that they were on weekly USA programming. What was the main event of the first SmackDown on USA when they went weekly?
You're talking to SmackDown Live era, 2016?
2016?
Before
you answer,
okay,
you got the whole entire show to think about it. So anybody out there in the chat, whether it's you, Flobo, whether it's anyone else, what was the first SmackDown main event, SmackDown and USA main event of the USA era?
This is kind of a aesthetic thing. Do you consider that the SmackDown Live era? Is that still accurate?
So they went live. They started going live in July, I want to say. Because back in the day, it was you had Monday Live every single week, and then they would tape SmackDown on Tuesday. And that would usually air Thursday or Friday. A lot of people remember when it would air later on in the week. And they started going live, I want to say, July. So it wasn't live just yet when they first started on and if I'm wrong, please correct me.
I will.
They started on the USA Network earlier that year, but they started going live in July.
Right.
That's when they moved to Tuesdays, when it was Raw Mondays and Tuesday SmackDown, because before it was always on a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, someone who was there day one, because SmackDown was a show for me because I didn't have cable.
Day one-ish.
Day one-ish. Oh, I miss those theme songs. Speaking of theme songs, the SmackDown Live era with the lights out. I mean, that was a good time. And the new logo and presentation takes me back to 2016. I mean, what are your thoughts with the new presentation? The new logo, the new intro grab, this new theme song, lightning and thunder everywhere.
I'm a big fan of change, I guess you can say. I'm always very much so embracing it. I know a lot of people hate it. We still, and I'm sure we all have our friends. We all have that inner circle where we're like, "Oh, wrestling was so much better back in the day, or back in my day, back when it was just an hour on the weekends." Like, yeah, whatever. But like, and I just feel like they were never really embracing the change. Don't get me wrong. Every now and then they'll introduce the championship that is ugly. I'm talking they ain't got no alibi. That's UGLY ugly. Like it is just like not attractive at all.
The belt and your mama.
Yeah, but I think in this case scenario, I'm really digging the intro. I'm digging MTS as the artist that's singing the intro. Obviously, a long time since Marilyn Manson did the intro, going from Marilyn Manson to nowadays Megan Thee Stallion.
The second theme song.
But I dig it. I really dig it. I think it looks cool. I like the logo. I like some of the match graphics that they have kind of leading up to it. But overall, I think it's a really, really cool look. Nothing will beat that SmackDown on Fox look, though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I like that one. I mean, people
you
love
like the fist, don't you?
People love the fist. I do not. I like the excess.
Hot. Hold on, let me touch it. That's a hot take.
I think the Ovaltron was like done, but the fist wasn't the answer. But everyone seems to love it. I guess it's kind of the era that SmackDown was.
The old school Ovaltron was cool because we were so accustomed to the big Titantron on Raw. So it was a cool new look. The fist was cool, man. How dare you?
What do you guys think? Your favorite era of SmackDown, the original era, or do we do the Ruthless Aggression? What was your favorite theme song? I like Black and Blue. I like This Life I Chose. I love the one they did with Drowning Pool.
If you're gonna say Ruthless Aggression, you gotta say it right.
Ruthless Aggression.
What makes you think, John Cena, you can get in the ring with Kurt Angle myself? Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah, Punch. That's it. Can I leave this up here the entire show? That'd be kind of cool. The real DM Hunk. What's going on, man? And Danny Cochran, Fire Pro Wrestling. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you hit up Danny Daniels. What's the deal?
Danny Cochran? Put that comment up. Danny Cochran, you can get out.
Get the
mid at best. How dare you, Daniel?
Danny speaks the truth. Stop him when he's telling lies. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, man. SmackDown season. What season is this? 25, 26, 25?
Let's just go with 25.
20, okay. The 25th anniversary.
No, let's go 26.
Yeah.
This would be the 26th season.
Started off with Triple H saying it's a new era. A lot of new eras since this guy took over. What's going on with that? New eras are happening left and right. I was hyped for it.
Well, first things first. I want to talk about the NEWS.
Oh, yeah, we got that. Sure.
Yeah. Well, first, speaking of SmackDown, here is an update on WWE's deal with Hulu to stream Raw and SmackDown. So amongst all that is current, the deal with Hulu, it looks like it will not last much longer, according to Dave Meltzer and the WON The One, stated that SmackDown's contract with Hulu has already expired and that next day streaming of the show will now move to Peacock, which I think is kind of a big deal, and I'll tell you why. As for Raw, Hulu have maintained their deal to stream that show until the end of the year, after which Netflix will obtain the exclusive rights once its new deal with WWE kicks off in 2025. Although there is still the main events will continue to be a staple of Hulu's weekly schedule, but given that Netflix will only have exclusive rights to Raw when it comes to streaming globally, as well as the fact that WWE's Peacock partnership does look set to continue in the US, Hulu may still have WWE programming in the foreseeable future. So just to kind of give everybody a heads up, at least for me, I don't know what it's like internationally, but whenever Raw or SmackDown airs, it doesn't show up on WWE Network / Peacock for another 30 days.
True.
So I think that's kind of big news if it ends up showing up the next day, because there was a time not too long ago where I forgot to set my NXT to record on Sci-Fi because they were moving because of the Olympics, and I was like, oh, I wanted to watch NXT because I think it was one of those like Great American Bashes, whatever.
Did you shake
And
your fist in the script when you missed the show? Are you like,
yeah, I
oh,
did because I was really excited to watch it.
yeah.
But
Lord, take me, Lord, take me, Lord.
NXT's deal is they have it up on the network the day after. So it was kind of like, okay, well, it's not the end of the world. And I kind of think that's a big deal. I'm kind of curious how that's going to affect maybe ratings, but at the same time, there's no such thing as going to be ratings when it comes to Netflix. Because if it's going to show up the next day, like, a lot of people maybe work at night. They'll probably end up watching the next day anyways. Maybe they'll lose those DVR numbers, or maybe they'll lose. But again, it's kind of interesting. I don't really watch wrestling on Hulu anyways. But I'm sure I always hear about people watching, they'll take out some stuff for the Hulu broadcast. But either way, it looks like Hulu's still going to be around when it comes to showing WWE programming.
Yeah, the Hulu 90-minute Raws are great. Well, back when Raw was pretty slow, like in 2019, 2018, it was good to get the condensed version. But I only watch Hulu WWE programming if someone tells me of a cool match on main event, or if I miss Level Up. So I guess the C and D shows, which is what I'm needed. But I do think it's interesting. Like, it reminds me of Marvel. Remember when Marvel had all their heroes in different studios back when they were like trying to get maximum income? And then overall, with two acquisitions with Disney, it kind of converged into a platform. I think we're seeing that now. I would be shocked if 10 years from now, either everything's on Netflix or Peacock moving forward.
You'll be shocked if it is or it isn't.
If it isn't, one of the two.
Yeah. I mean, I think this Netflix thing is going to be a really, really big deal. It did imply that they're still going to have stuff with Peacock, because I feel like that deal was for 5 years, and that started around February or March of 2021. So it's not going to be like another year and a half before we start seeing what's going to happen with the all the content. And yeah, I've been recently kind of catching up on a lot of content of WWE. I used to just kind of watch the PLEs, and it was cool to kind of reference certain things when it came to some of the old school library. But yeah, I'm just really starting to catch up on a lot of things that I might have missed throughout the years. So I'm kind of curious where that's going to end up being after this Peacock deal is done.
Yeah, nothing tops version 1 of the WWE.
Oh my god,
that was. Thanks to MLB Advanced Media, because that was the best architecture ever. But
you know what's not is Peacock. They got a lot of work to do, and I'm so upset that they haven't done anything about it.
I understand, like, if you're Peacock and you're licensing content, why would you break something down for just one vendor? But like, I don't know what season of WrestleMania I want to watch.
Well, the WrestleMania is easy. It's usually like the season of like the SummerSlam. Like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's like, yeah, that's a little silly.
Yeah, no, I want to know the one that Kofi won. Okay, so anyway, what's going on in the news, by the way?
So TKO exec Mark Shapiro explains why WWE is further reducing house shows in the future. He says, and I quote, "The WWE brand, while we still have to grow it, it's on fire right now. We don't need to carry these marginally profitable events. What was 300 last year, we will do roughly 250 this year, and next year we'll be close to 200. This is in somewhat kind of big news because we all hear the old timers. We've all heard those 70s and 80s wrestlers. Back in my day, we used to be on the road 350 days, twice on Sundays. It looks like those days are gone. Whether it's good or bad for the business, it looks like it's a little bit better for the business, especially since when I started watching wrestling and I kind of grew up reading the dirt sheets and hearing about the live events. It seems like every single week there was a Raw crew and a SmackDown crew doing all the live events, and we would hear about, and again, I don't want to blame the previous regime, because I mean, that's what wrestling is. If you don't like it, then get out of it, right? But we would hear a lot about, like, missing the families, missing the birthdays, missing the weddings, missing this and missing that, missing the anniversaries, right? And it does feel like it's becoming a little bit less of that. A little bit more family oriented, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the camera as well. So how this affects people, I don't know, because I honestly, and we've all been to live events, they're lots of fun. they're able to do a lot more things that we don't really see on TV. I remember watching one of the last live events I've been to. It was the Revival going up against the Lucha Dragons, and that was just a fun match because you can tell they were doing a lot of things that they weren't able to really do on TV. But what is it about? Is it about doing the fun stuff? It was about making a profit. The rumor has always been that they don't really make a profit when it comes to live events. So, does it really hurt the brand in some ways?
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting situation. The whole idea of the house show, maybe not the big shows, but the small ones, the Wilkes Bears, the Worcester, Mass, the Boise, Idaho's, the Bozeman, Montanas are like, these get people out there to be familiar with everyone. But it makes sense. Like the more of these premium events, and I mean that pun intended or pun actualized, it'd be harder to have the same talent at a price point so low. Like, for example, how much would you pay for a steak at McDonald's, right? There's a limit to what you would, because you're like, well, you also sell $1.39 cheeseburger. What gives? So I understand the less events, more help with the body and make sure there's an off season, although if there isn't an off season. However, I do miss some of those house shows because of what craziness would go on. Some title changes, some experimentation with characters, seeing new theme songs or new theme packages before they go out. Like that, they'd be lost while they're trying to develop new characters.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. Like you said, I think they're still going to do the big markets. I'm sure we'll still see the MSG at the end of the year. We'll have. Although I don't think they've had a live event at LA for a while. I could be wrong. In fact, we haven't really had any. I know they're in Ontario this upcoming Monday, but we haven't really had anything at Crypto since since before. I mean, obviously we had Mania last year, but I want to say that's probably the last time they've really been out here.
The holiday tour, they were at the Forum, which is close enough.
That doesn't count.
Okay, Inglewood is not Los Angeles. You heard it here first. George Hermoza. Anything else going on news, man? Anything going on?
I got one more that's kind of a little bit more relevant to what we're going to talk about today on SmackDown is Roman Reigns advertised for the WWE.
I get it. Relevancy, Roman Reigns. That's pretty fun.
The Island. WWE Survivor Series 2024 after missing the event last year. Pretty much he's being advertised for the upcoming Survivor Series from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Kind of a big deal. I'll kind of get into my predictions a little bit on what I think he's going to be doing at Survivor Series. I've been really wrong about predictions a lot in the last month or so.
Why are you promoting it? Predictions coming soon. I've been really wrong with the predictions, guys.
No, well, I mean, because even so, and we'll talk about it in a second. But I guess I'll just say it now. Before the tweet, I tweeted maybe like 20 minutes before the show ended, because you had Cody say, "Oh, I don't want anything to do with the bloodline." Okay, cool. In my head, great. He's stepping away. He's going to actually defend his championship at Bad Blood against maybe somebody noteworthy. And I'm thinking, oh man, it's going to be Roman and Rock. Roman's going to announce that he got The Rock to team with them, and that's when Rock is going to turn on Roman and become, join the Solo Clan.
I hate it.
Yeah, but obviously it's not going to happen. So I thought Joe Hendry was going to come in at No Mercy to cost. Not Joe Hendry. I'm sorry. I thought Josh Alexander was going to come at No Mercy and cost Joe Hendry the match, not only costing Joe Hendry, but also helping his former teammate Ethan Page win the title or retain the title. So I've just been really wrong about a lot of things, whether it's Hangman winning the Casino Gauntlet at All In. Totally wrong about that, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And Roman Reigns, man, I like him a lot. I like the fact that we'll get into it in a minute. I like the fact that his character tweaked just a little bit. I wonder though if crowds are going to rock with him for potentially a year or 2 years in his iteration, but that remains to be seen. All right. Can we go on to SmackDown?
We can talk about SmackDown now that we covered the news. By the way, did you know that news is an acronym?
Oh no. You always say this, but what does it mean?
But I always forget. Notable events, whether in sports.
Oh, I didn't know that. Although it was Northeast, West, and South, but there you go. That's why you're the smartest guy on Wrestling Inc. right now. You're the Larry Zbyszko of this ish.
No, don't give me that.
Who's smarter than George?
Maybe Mike Tenay.
No, but Mike Tenay isn't at Wrestling Inc. You're the smartest person here on Share IQ.
But you said Larry Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko not on Wrestling Inc.
I said you're the Larry Zbyszko of this ish.
No, I would say I'd rather be the Mike Tenay of this ish.
Okay, and who would be the Larry Zbyszko?
You.
No, I'm a dummy.
No, because you're a living legend.
Oh, stop. I'll be replaced next week by somebody else on our staff. Okay, let's get into it. Cody Rhodes, man, had a promo. No, he didn't have a promo. He
No,
had a
he did
match.
not have a promo. He had a
Sorry,
match.
Triple H had a promo.
He eventually had a promo in some ways.
Yeah. Sorry, Triple H had the promo. We are all it's on fire right now. We had our match. Solo Sikoa, Cody Rhodes inside a steel cage, which is interesting because what other cages are there in wrestling? But steel, who knows? The match was back and forth, and even though Solo had a fight of his life, I didn't particularly felt Cody was that bothered until what happened after the match. George, walk me through this. When can we have a simple 1v1 affair in a cage without people getting involved?
So you're saying it should just be called a cage match?
Yeah, a steel cage. Like if someone says a steel chair, I go, well, at least there's announcers' chairs. That makes sense. But you tell me the steel steps, like, okay, backstage the steps are made out of wood. But you tell me a steel cage, well, there's other cages out there. The Punjabi prison match hasn't happened in 15 years.
It's like 7 years. We saw it in 2017. Come on, you can't throw out a fact like that and expect him not to fact check you.
Who remembers the last Punjabi prison match?
It was 2017. I just told you.
Who remembers the last Punjabi prison match?
Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal do.
Who remembers, besides the guys who are contractually obligated to be in it, a Punjabi prison?
Fans remember. Fans remember. First off, blasphemous because that was a regular 1-versus-1 match, and we didn't see people interfere until after the match ended.
Fair.
So I thought the match was good. It was everything it needed to be. It really solidified Cody as a legitimate champion that can beat his person or beat his opponent in a regular one-on-one, whether it's steel cage or not, because I know there was a lot of question marks coming out of SummerSlam of like, well, would he have won if Roman didn't interfere in the tribal rules or whatever the bloodline rules match? But now he kind of shut off the naysayers, I guess you can say, into, well, I beat Solo. Now what? And then, yeah, like you said, we had bloodline interfere at the end. But my question is,
okay,
what took Roman so long?
It's Cody Rhodes.
But I'm saying, but in the land of like the make believe, right?
Sure.
Did Roman just show up to the building, or was he back there like, I'm gonna hang out? Yeah, he's gonna let him get beat up for a little bit. Oh, it looks like Jacob's going to the top of the cage. Okay, now I'm gonna come out. I'd rather have it better like he just showed up to the back, because like a lot of these wrestlers, they don't have to show up on time. They don't have a call time. They'll just show up whenever they want. Austin used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
So I like to think that Roman, he walked in the door and I was like, oh man, what's going on? Who won the match? Oh, Cody won. Okay, what's happening? Oh, okay, let me get out there.
Yeah, I think I would have said that Roman showed up because it was his 25th anniversary. They called him and RVD to show up. He walked in and they go, oh, they beat up Cody. He goes, I don't care. And it's like, oh, wait, it's Solo. All right. Like if someone's beating up Jack Farmer, I'm taking my sweet time. Get some licks in there. Oh, now he's okay. I'll show up after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
What if somebody's beating me up?
A little faster. I'm not that fast. But
okay.
Yeah. You haven't screwed me over before in a parking lot. So Roman comes out and we had this kind of like weird shift of energy, right? Like it was like, I remember you guys are enemies, but we're not friends, but we have a similar adversary. Now people are making a lot of stink about Roman Reigns being perceived as weaker now that he is a fan favorite. Thoughts about this? Did he seem strong in his beat down the bloodline at first?
So I had an issue with kind of after this segment happens, right? And again, let's say we're talking in real time. I don't know what's happening at the end of the show, so I'm just going to tell you my thoughts as it happened. I when Roman came out and kind of cleaned house, I was kind of like, I was a little over it because we saw it at SummerSlam. We saw the SmackDown after SummerSlam. Then we finally got a little bit the new bloodline kind of getting one up on Roman. So I was like, is Roman just going to come back so we can do the same thing?
Hell yeah.
So I kind of like that wasn't the end of that story. That wasn't the end of that chapter right then and there. I like that we were still going to have, a segment to end the show. So I kind of like that part of it. But at the time when that segment ended, when Roman and Cody kind of cleared house, I was like, I need something more. I need Roman to be on the mic. I need him to say something. I need anything that we haven't already seen before. And again, so in the moment, I was like, whatever. But by the end of the show, I was like, okay, this is good. This is good then.
Last question about this. Solo Sikoa has been struggling to connect with the audience. He had a title match. People seem to be on board with Cody winning his title or defending his title, not so much Solo winning. Is there really a path to put Solo that hot, wrestling heat, right, in a way that we want to see a marquee match with him and Roman Reigns, or it's kind of a lost cause?
No, I think Solo has been doing great. I think some of the reaction that he's been getting has been absolutely phenomenal. And I think there's no rush for this. I know it looks like they're going to be in the ring at the same time on Bad Blood. But I feel like if it's building up towards something bigger, because it seems like everything is building toward that one-on-one match. I think they are in the right hands in terms of getting Solo to that next level. It doesn't have to be anytime soon. He's only been in the company for like 2 years, or on the main roster for 2 years, pretty much almost to the day. But yeah, I think everything is heading into the right direction when it comes to Solo, and especially Jacob Fatu, who just like Jacob Fatu has just done so much in so little time, and I think it's phenomenal.
For the record, I like Solo. I just feel like there's a difference between the crowd being like, "Oh, we want to see you get beat up," versus "We want Roman." So that's kind of interesting as well. Alicia A, the Wrench Crew moderator, says you forgot to mention the stare down between Roman and Jacob. Yeah, George, the hell.
Yeah, I mean, I love the tease. I didn't think we were going to see any physicality. So yeah, it's all about those simple moments that you can kind of see if this has any juice at all. And yeah, it kind of left us clamoring more. And that's what, not just wrestling, but that's just what everything's all about. Leave them wanting more.
Shifting gears a little bit, I have a bunch of questions about this match here. Michin was in a match against Piper Niven. The questions I have are these. Michin, not an OC gear. I guess she's officially outside the group, but this group does still exist. Piper Niven got thrown around a bit, but she eventually fought on, but she didn't get the win. But then Chelsea Green becomes a lot more
Say
aggressive.
it right.
Chelsea Green becomes a lot more aggressive throughout the match as well. Is Chelsea destined for something else? Is Piper destined for something else? And what is Michin doing on this roster and NXT roster, just floating about taking L's?
You're gonna hate doing these shows with me because I make you say it. First
As
it was
long
a
as you don't
ruthless
make me
aggression.
dance. You don't make me dance, that's fine.
Fair enough. I got so the thing with the Michin and the OC, I'd like to think that they're not attached at the hip, and I know I'm probably overthinking it. I'd like to think that it's like, oh well, they don't need to be, on the same screen at the same time every single time. Like let people kind of be themselves and let people breathe or whatever. Because I feel like there's still kind of that affiliation that we see every now and then, just to kind of remind us. With that said, I get it, or I don't get it. I don't.
You get it or you don't get it?
I know what I'm saying. I don't get it. I don't understand Michin. I don't get her character. I don't get what she's trying to do.
Man. She's from Fontana.
Yeah. But I don't. I feel like when you describe. So okay. So brief, small off tangent. I had a wrestling match, a practice match one time, and I was wrestling this girl. And during practice, and she was like, "Oh, I was like, what's your character like?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm this, take no ish badass, bad attitude, or just kick ass attitude."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Isn't that everybody?"
Right.
Like, so I feel that when I see Michin or Mia Yim, I'm like, she's just this kick ass, take no ish, whatever. I'm like, but isn't that a lot of people?
So. I agree with you, but I think the problem with independent wrestling, and his is a hot take from someone who's only wrestled one class his entire life. So please take it with a grain of salt. I took one class, I did a lockup and a bump, and I was like, oh, this sucks. I quit. I think when you're an independent wrestler, you kind of have these archetypes. Either you're the cocky heel or you're the badass because you got to sell those 8x10s. You got to be able to be a tweener, to be a face or heel. If you look at the SmackDown roster right now, everyone's kind of glammed up from Jade to Naomi to Tiffany. Maybe Nia Jax is the only outlier. So there is room for Michin to be a badass if she need be.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just don't buy it. I don't, or maybe I'm not buying her as a baby face. I'd love to see what she can do as a heel. I don't think we've ever really seen her be a heel in WWE/NXT. So maybe that's it. But maybe I just don't buy it as a babyface, unfortunately. I think she's a great talent. I think she's been, even going back to Impact TNA, I think she is just a great asset. to any company. I just feel like when it comes to this big time WWE NXT, like I'm afraid as of now, she's a big fish and or a small fish in a big pond, or whatever. I don't know the phrase. Like I feel
That's
like
two
she would.
different phrases. Are you saying
Yeah,
she's a
that's
big
true.
fish in a
She would
small pond?
excel. She would excel in an NXT or a TNA. But now we're on the main roster, and I feel like she's got to add a little bit something more than what she is now. Again, maybe it's her as a heel, but whatever the presentation is now as a babyface, it's just not for me, unfortunately.
Donde Está says she's not a character right now. She's a good wrestler, basically. Tienes razón. Okay, I mean the match was solid, but I still wonder what she says.
Yeah, I thought it was good for what it was. Again, never question the talent level of Mia Yim, Michin, or even Piper Niven. But I think, in answer to your question, I think at the end of the day, Chelsea's the one that's going to always stand out in pretty much almost any segment she's in.
She seemed pretty aggressive today. Like not so much a mean streak, but a mean streak.
It does sound like it's maybe leading up to maybe Michin bringing in somebody as well, because we've seen this formula happen a lot where you have 2 against 1, and we saw it on Raw when it was like 3 against 2. Now 3 against 3, but now it's like 2 against 1. So now I'm questioning who's going to be Michin's partner to face off against Chelsea and Piper Niven.
89 the Brainchild says, send me the Pure Fusion Collective. I say no. The reason being, I still don't understand what Pure Fusion Collective is. So, like, I understand Shayna Baszler's MMA. I understand Zoe Stark looks tough, and it is kind of tough. But why would any of these tough, like, jerks, these bruisers, hang out with Sonya Deville? It has never been explained. Well, I won't say what bar they hang out with, but I don't want to know. But you know what I'm saying? Where would they ever interact is beyond me. But, yeah, let's move on, my friend. A-Town Down Under gets their requisite loss this week as Kevin Owens found one half of Midnight Heat to be his tag team partner. For just a second.
I'm glad you know who Midnight Heat is, by the way.
Yeah, it was kind of a deep cut, man. I was like, hey, Jack, your buddies are on. But got stunned out of his shoes. Ricky Gibson got stunned out of his shoes as Randy Orton came over from Raw. It was a predictable tag team partner for Kevin Owens, but it was presented in a fun way. The match itself was pretty solid. A-Town Down Under gets another loss if anyone cares. RKO there, pop-up powerbomb there, stunner there. It was pretty much the greatest hits of this rivalry.
I call me foolish, call me crazy.
I call you George.
I did not predict Randy Orton at all.
Really?
I thought it was going to be Sami Zayn.
Oh, right, Sami Zayn.
I honestly thought it was going to be Sami.
Yeah. I'm glad it was.
I completely forgot about Randy Orton. With that said, I love the pairing. I'm hoping that they're not going after like the tag straps, because I feel I'm not a fan of just these two massive singles guys just go after the tag straps because they can.
Whoa! Stop!
Unless they have like a family or blood.
6 months ago, you told me how cool it would be to have Bianca and Jade. Is that the same thing?
No.
How?
Because Bianca and Jade are
different
just
because what?
Because Jade hasn't gotten to that accolade yet of a Randy Orton, of a Kevin Owens.
People keep saying that about Jade Cargill, but you never have given her the ball. You can't say, "Oh man,
she's gonna get the ball eventually."
All I'm saying is, you said, we can't have two guys together go for the title, and that's exactly what Bianca and Jade did twice.
No, but Jade's not at the level of Randy or Kevin.
I didn't say they were. I'm saying,
but that's what I mean. You have two legitimate main event wrestlers as single stars.
Yeah.
Now teaming together. Jade has never main evented a WrestleMania.
Okay, fair enough. You will do the main event conversation. What about the 2-man power trip with the Mega Powers? It happens, man. That's part of wrestling lore.
It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of it.
Get off your lawn. I'm fine with it. I mean, because Randy Orton's not doing much. He's on his own farewell tour. He won't admit it. Why not put some extra months on that run so we don't forget about him? And then when he breaks off and does the peace out, y'all, we go, cool.
So you're saying they should go after the tag straps?
Look, who has it now?
The Bloodline.
Yeah, exactly. And who's going to take him off the Bloodline?
Hopefully DIY or the Street Profits. Did you not watch NXT? The Street Profits.
You're missing the point. The Street Profits are good, but they're ice cold. DIY do not seem believable at all. But you put Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in the Bloodline, and I go, at least they have a chance. And that's what matters.
I'll tell you what, though.
Totally
I'm
was.
really hoping that it's not Cody and Roman going after the tax traps.
Okay, that'd be weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That'd be weird. Hey, Cody, aren't you busy with
Because
something?
if somebody else was in charge, they'd already be champs by next week.
Oh,
The match at Bad Blood would be for the tax traps.
it would be. It would be. That's why I don't have the book, because I totally would have done that. No, I like this idea. I mean, it gives Kevin Owens, we like him. He's a Deadpool of WWE right now, but he needs to be on TV. And Logan Paul's not there to make fun of him. He can't beat up Austin Theory by himself every time, so it works for me.
And poor Ricky. Poor Ricky.
Like Ricochet? No, he's in AEW. Yeah.
Oh man, shout out to Ricky. I love that the chats, 1000% RIP Ricky. Poor Ricky. Shout out to the Rickies in the world, because we all know a Ricky. We all have seen a Ricky, and then just they get that hope of the glory, but then they end up just getting replaced.
Damn, that's deep.
Ah.
So did you see that segment at Pike Place? That was pretty cool with Nia Jax and Pretty Deadly getting out there and interacting with Seattle.
That's pretty cool. I'm surprised that Tiffany was got her hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah, I did see about a character, but you know what?
I've never been to see. I was having a conversation at the Dodger game today, and I was definitely trying to insert some point Seattle into my journey next year. So hopefully, I get to catch some fish as well.
What, you want to put some context to the journey? Like, or you just going to go?
Well, I mean, to go to a Mariners game, to get a Seattle Mariners bobblehead, hopefully a Julio Rodriguez one.
It's a good park, man. The food's actually on, but they have a Ding Tai Fung inside the park, which is
they used to have it at Petco Park. They don't have it anymore.
Well, San Diego's overrated.
Oh man, that park is beautiful.
It is.
You know what the best part of that Petco Park is?
The views.
Besides that, free refills.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Look, that is amazing.
Especially go to a Dodger game and they won't even give you a cup of ice.
Yes, I'll go to Petco Park over Dodger Stadium every day of the week. The thing is, for me, is that we're getting off topic here, but San Diego gave up on that team, and no one went to those games for years. And they got a new owner, and they changed the colors, and everyone pretends they're day one fans. And I'm like, no one cared post Tony Gwynn, pre Slam Diego. So I don't want this fake fandom. That's right, I said it, but that's for the baseball podcast.
I do plan on going to San Diego at some point because I already went for the bobblehead. So now next one I'm going to go is because when the Dodgers play the San Diego, but that's not until next like May or something, or August.
Don't get me booed, Tucker. I love Comic-Con. The gas amp is cool, but I was telling this to Jack this week. Their actual motto is America's finest city. Is that true? Is it? It's
not bad.
It's not bad, San Diego. All right, let's talk about Nia Jax, man. She is on another level. She is not only our queen, but she's also our champ. But hopefully not for long. If you're Bayley, constantly being overlooked this year, if I'm being honest with you, comes out and says, you know what, you're good, but you're not good enough. And it all kind of broke down with Tiffany and Naomi getting involved.
Overlooked?
Yeah.
She won the Royal Rumble.
And she did in main event WrestleMania.
Yeah, because her name's not Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes.
Don't do that to me. Look, you tell me the point of winning the Royal Rumble is you get to main event WrestleMania, or else why would you join the Royal Rumble and do the Money in Bank instead? You're supposed to main event the WrestleMania when you win the Royal Rumble. She didn't do that.
I really hope that you had this much energy when Shinsuke Nakamura did not main event WrestleMania.
I did, because the whole point of going to a match where you fight for an hour is to point at the sign and say the show is built around you. Did I like the Cody match? Yes. Did the Bloodline Rules match on night one need to be main event? I don't think so.
Yes.
But I'm saying is, then why have the stipulation that you get to main event Mania when you don't get to main event Mania? That makes no sense.
Sometimes, Flobo, they have a double main event or a triple main event.
This is not fully loaded 2000. Stop with that. Bayley's overlooked. Continue.
And she won the championship at WrestleMania, and she had a great title reign.
In the middle of the show.
It wasn't the middle of the show. It was the second to last match of the show.
It was not the end. It wasn't the main. You have 2 nights now. I would get it if WrestleMania was one night. You have 2 nights, a whole weekend, and Bayley is not the main event. Then why have the Rumble, George? Why have the Rumble?
That was a great match at Backlash as well, with Naomi and Tiffany.
Yeah, but Backlash does not have the same stage as the main event at WrestleMania, so I'm told. I'm a SummerSlam guy.
Tell that to the French crowd.
See, you lucked out because you could have gone to France. It could have been sitting on their hands if you were in Paris, but they weren't. Toulouse with nuts.
We should have gone to France.
I know. Anyway, overlook Bailey. Talk to me about this.
I thought it was great. I like the segment. I like the build up.
Stop the both. No. It was said. It was said. That's why I'm so mad. They do say that. You get to main event wrestle. Okay.
Usa.
Usa.
Yeah, I thought the segment was great. I thought they were gonna build toward like a triple threat match, and I want to say that maybe that's what we're gonna build toward. Although Nia did say whoever gets the pinfall gets to face me at Bad Blood. It'd be a nice little twist if Tiffany Stratton gets the pinfall. But then they kind of added on that stipulation of if one of you guys, whoever loses, gets to leave SmackDown. So I don't think they're gonna leave SmackDown. But I do think it is going to lead up somehow into a triple threat match at Bad Blood because Bailey and Naomi are both just amazing talent, and I feel like they both deserve to get that main spotlight to face Nia Jax at Bad Blood.
If someone was going to leave SmackDown, who would you do? Who would you like have leave?
Bailey.
Really? Have go to Raw or NXT
Yep.
or just off of TV?
I go to Raw.
Okay, so you're a hater. Okay, I love it.
No, she's been on SmackDown for like at least 5 or 6 years. She's one of the few SmackDown talent that's been on SmackDown for the entire Fox run. I just think it's a nice, fresh breath of fresh air.
Yeah, she's the face that runs the place. You want to tear that down?
No, I mean, go. I mean, I'd love to see her versus Io Sky. I think that'd be amazing.
That's been done. That's why they separated.
But I want to see it again.
Fair enough. All right.
I was like, we did see it.
Yeah, we did see that. It was other. Okay.
Although, if she goes to NXT, though, her versus Julia versus Stephanie versus Roxanne.
I understand NXT is developmental. I kind of wish that it was elevated enough that we can have a 3-team exchange for the draft. I really think that'd be kind of cool for everyone involved. Speaking about everyone involved, we got ourselves a finale. That's the word. At our best of 5 series between Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. It was back and forth. It could have gone either way. I was rooting for Carmelo Hayes because I am a total mark for the guy, but it was El Idolo getting the win, and that brought out LA Knight and says he's going to hit it and quit it. I can't believe he actually said that. I'm not making it up. An eventual United States title opportunity. Andrade moves on to LA Knight's reticles. Is that a word?
Yeah, I don't know. So, obviously this is not in any shape, form, or fashion were we expecting it to disappoint. These two are just magical together in the ring. They did a lot of cool things once again, and yeah, they totally delivered. I kind of like that they didn't really announce it was gonna be like a best of 5. I kind of like that they just kind of kept it going because we're so used to what we used to see. Oh, now we're gonna see a best of 5 with John Cena and Booker T. Now we're gonna see a best of 7 and whatever. So I kind of like that they just kind of let them be them, not really have any kind of like because I feel like if they were to announce like a best of 5 in advance, it'd be like, oh, well, match 1 doesn't matter. Match 2 doesn't matter. So I feel like by them not announcing it, it really added a lot of meaning toward every single match. With that said, yeah, this is great. Carmelo's got one of the brightest futures out there. And I can't wait. I feel like even though Andrade is going to get the next US title shot, I feel like at some point Melo's going to be the one that ends up beating LA Knight for the US title.
So let's talk about Carmelo Hayes for a second, because I like that prognosis for Carmelo. But I mean, plenty of times when you had someone that was on a win streak or had a nice run and they don't, by changing brands or going on things, and that's kind of hard to rekindle the magic. You may get the wins, you may get the title opportunities, but it won't be the same. Now, Carmelo isn't the Carmelo from NXT. Is there a way for him to recapture that lightning in a bottle, or is that already gone?
No, I think there's always a way to recapture it. There's a lot of people that have had some L's back in the day that we all probably thought that there's no recuperating from that, and they ended up becoming one of the biggest stars in the world. Like Triple H. Dude, if this was today, if everything was around back then, like how it is now, I guarantee you there would be so much chatter about Triple H jobbing out to Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 12.
No, I disagree.
It'd be like, oh, I can't believe Warrior just totally buried the pedigree. Triple H is never going to recover from this. And then he went on a losing streak after the current call, and I'm sure everybody was like, oh, way to bury one of your future stars. I think it turned out pretty well for Triple H.
But he wasn't Triple H as we know it then. If Triple H as we know it, that went on a losing streak for a year or 2 years. Like, I love MVP, but that 20 match losing streak kind of broke him. And it took Triple H, ironically, to break him out of it. Remember that one?
Yeah. That's when he lost to like Kizarny.
Yeah, he lost to everyone. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying doom and gloom. I want Carmelo to do well. I just feel like the NXT Carmelo felt like it was a long, long time.
But plus, he's not losing. Like, he's not on a losing streak. He's not losing in a very undramatic fashion. He's losing all these matches but in a way where it's like he's still looking like a star. He's still getting over without going over. So I feel like in the long run, because especially since they're not really putting a lot of emphasis on him being a loser, I guess you can say. It's not like the other place where you have a guy that loses every single big match that they're in. Like, Melo's won a couple. He's beaten Andrade. He wasn't able to beat Andrade 3 times out of 5 matches. So I still feel like there is a bright future for this character of Melo, and it's only a matter of time before everybody realizes that he is him.
I agree. So Andrade is our number 1 contender, whether it's official or not, it remains to be seen. I mean, it kind of is, Here's the deal. Does he fit on the SmackDown roster to you right now? Is he kind of a must-see talent? We're talking about how he was misused in his last run or was misused in AEW. He's back here. He's been back for a while. Where do you put Andrade on the pecking order?
So I just to be fair, because a lot of the criticism that I had for Michin kind of applies here in some ways. Because nobody's denying the talent that Andrade has. Love me some Andrade, love his presentation, but is he a main event level guy as of now or with this current direction? Absolutely not. Is he that great mid-carder that we can always count on him having great matches? Absolutely. So I think if he wants to get to that next level, something's got to change. But for what he's currently in, I think he's doing just fine.
There sometimes you look at cars. This is kind of a weird example, and you made like a nameplate, like I made like a Ford Mustang, but every 5 years they change the designs, and sometimes you might say, "Oh, I like the old design better." Like, I felt the El Idolo of his not the last run, but in 2019-18, the NXT run, the Zelina Vega,
that was a great one. Yeah.
I was evangelizing Andrade, and he still has that. You can even argue he's even smoother and better now, but it almost seems like it doesn't really hit me the same personally. But maybe I'm just a crotch deal, man.
The real question is, when she comes back, do they involve him and Charlotte in a storyline together?
I think
not storyline, but just acknowledge the affiliation on screen.
Yeah, with the way the company's going now with blending reality, you're going to have that. If it's something as lame as this is going to sound weird, like Charlotte like tying his boots or rubbing him down like before a match, you may see that. But the actual like that's my man, I don't see it because the Queen is such a solitary character unless it's something changes. I don't personally see it, but I think that's kind of the way it's going,
Because even with like Bianca and Montez, like, we all know they're married, but they're not on TV every single week together. In fact, I don't remember the last time they were on TV together. Like, it's definitely been a while. I'm just curious whether we all think that that's going to become something that they put some kind of a spotlight on when Charlotte comes back.
You got to separate Montez and Bianca because they're with B-Fab. Like, why would you they haven't explained who B-Fab was because B-Fab talked to Lashley and Lashley's no longer in the company. But that's a very small point. That's very as much of us nerding out about things. Now, before we get to the last exchange here in the overrun, do you want to do the quick trivia question now or do you want to wait?
We're going to wait till the show's over. But just a reminder, if anybody didn't catch the beginning of the show, I was asking, obviously a lot of firsts, the first SmackDown in USA, but it's not the first time in a long time. So my question was, what was the main event of the first SmackDown on the USA Network when they went weekly, back in 2016?
I have a question from Him Jong-un who says, Melo needs squash matches right now. Whatever happened to squash matches? Must all modern WWE matches involve 2 known stars?
That's a great question. It pretty much went away with the advent of Nitro. because Monday Nitro kind of got rid of the whole squash match element, and Raw or WWE was doing it just to keep up. They did it. They still do it every now and then. I think we all remember when Nia Jax first started. To the main roster, she would actually beat people like Scarlett Boudreaux or Britt Baker. Right? Was it Britt Baker that
Something
she
like
beat
that.
on Raw, or I think it was Asuka.
Hmm.
But yes, it was every now and then we would see like extra local talent come in.
Ryback had that in Tensai.
Yeah, Tensai, Lord Tensai, might I add.
Right. Lord
Um,
Tensai.
this is an interesting question because essentially what happened was the WWE essentially trained us to not enjoy squash matches, right? Now we got used to seeing the star versus the star, right? So who's to say that we can't be trained again to like something else?
Right.
So I always think that's interesting.
That's actually raises a good point. Is there a way? Because like I understand the reason why you would want to have jobbers. I'm sorry, enhancement talent. I'm not an insider.
Local talent.
Local talent. I understand that if you want to have a show, if you buy a ticket that's now becoming 50, 60,
Yeah.
70, $80, you don't want to have people you don't know. So I get that part. But at the same time, it's like you really can't have, Bianca beating everybody week in and week out on tour. Is there a way to promote a local talent for that night, like a reality show? Here's my chance to win a contract, old school AEW style, or is that just too gimmicky?
I mean, it's possible, but here's the main thing. I think the most important things about what it was to have enhancement matches, right? What's Austin Theory's finisher?
Daytown Down.
What's Tiffany Stratton's finisher?
The prettiest moonsault ever.
Okay, you're really good, but my point is like, there's a lot of people that like, wait, what's their finisher? Oh, I don't know their finisher because like either they don't win or they don't get a chance to put that finisher over. Yeah. Back when we saw squash matches, dude, those matches always ended in finisher. There was not a squash match that Mr. Perfect had that did not end in a perfect plex, or did not end in a $1 million dream, or did not end in the earthquake splash, whatever it was, right? The Superfly splash, like all the I think that's when you really saw finishing moves really, really get put over and really, really mean something. Nowadays, I feel like that's what's missing from enhancement matches. I don't think that we really need them back, but I do feel like there needs to be more of a focus on finishing moves, because there's a lot of people that I'm like, wait, I know Michin got the eat defeat over, but like what's Piper Niven's finisher? What's Chelsea Green's finisher? Like I don't know these things, but I feel like that's what we need some kind of emphasis on these days.
Do finishers exist anymore in the world of kickouts and fall finisher? Like,
I don't know.
Not to be sour about it, but I'm like,
no. There's just it is like, what it is.
I'm asking this as a product of somebody. I'm an advanced age, right? I'll be honest with you. I'm an older man. Not as old as Jack though, because he's a grandpa. He's like 75. The hair is like pretty much matted down.
And what do you think that I am? Because I'm like 85.
Woo, man! I guess I'm a young boy in this group. But like I like finishers because like, oh, that's a finish maneuver. Because the whole Vince McMahon in your ear, like, what a maneuver. But with false finishes and 2 counts and super kicks becoming a normal move, and even Canadian destroyers. Is there such a thing as a finishing move anymore? Do we still want those?
God, I'm gonna sound like the old guy. Oh my God, I can't believe this. But like my kind of beef is I'm not a fan. Like finishers exist, but I'm not a fan when there's a move that's before the finish that is more impactful than the finish that they kick out of. Right? It's like, oh, I just did a top rope twisting Canadian destroyer, right? 1, 2, kick out. And we're all like, oh my God, what a move. And he kicked out of that, whatever, and then, and then they lose to the perfect plex. Like, you should, you know what I mean? Like a perfect plex is a finisher. So you shouldn't be doing moves that are more impactful than the finisher. So that's kind of where I have the issue with in wrestling these days. There are still finishers, but I feel like what's lost is having more impactful moves before the actual finisher.
Yeah, back in my day, bear hugs in the matches. That was great. Yeah.
I remember just really back in my day, I saw a story, or I read a story. I saw whatever. Like Harley Race was like talking about like he was talking to some young guy, right? And then the young guy is like, "You want me to win a match with a suplex?" And Harley Race goes, "Kid, I won an NWA championship with a suplex. You know what I mean? Like that just goes to show like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like it's not so much what moves you do, it's really like the art behind the move.
Absolutely. JR says, in my opinion, when the master of a move does it, then it's a devastating finisher. Others can do it, but not like them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan trained that leg drop in China, brother. Just
So just a small we're telling a lot of stories today. So I was listening to a Jake the Snake podcast, right? And somebody asked him, like, what do you think of like a lot of people using the DDT? What do you think of, a lot of people using the DDT, and what do you think of like just that being such a transitional move now to the point where everybody's kicking out of DDT? You know what Jake said? He said, nobody ever kicked out of my DDT.
wow. So what Grandpa would said.
Yeah.
Say Secular Belt says George must have hated Edge's whole career. That's not true. I hated Edge's whole career. So let's talk about this main event segment. Roman Reigns heads to the ring because Nick Aldis has a contract in hand. But you know what? Roman just says, I am alone. I am the OTC. No, nay, I am the only TC. Of course, that brings out Cody Rhodes, says, ain't your yard no more, you wuss, which brings out the bloodline. You kind of get a nice bookend here with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes not so much being friends, but forging an alliance in ink.
I feel like this must have been so cool for like a lot of younger fans, because this to me was Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage coming together. This to me was Rock and Austin coming together, after feuding for so long. So I feel like I felt those kind of vibes when we saw that. Although I do have one criticism for this segment.
Oh,
So Roman comes out and he says, everything's changed. A lot of things have changed around here except for me. Right? I'm the same. I'm still the tribal chief. So why didn't he get the crowd to acknowledge him? He should have done that because he said he didn't change. Yet at no point did he say, Seattle, acknowledge me.
because it doesn't
That's
have
my
the
only
Ulafala.
beef.
It's
So
like
yes, he even said it. I don't need the Ulafala to be the tribal chief.
he doesn't need it, but he doesn't have it. It's like when Bianca Belair was a heel in NXT, and when she lost, she goes, I'm still undefeated. It's almost like a little bit of a coping mechanism about an internal thing.
So
That's why,
because he doesn't have it, then he's not going to say acknowledge me.
yes, because when he does win it eventually and he puts it on, he's going to put that one up, and the crowd is
He
going
put
to
the one up
lose their mind.
now.
But he's going to say acknowledge me, and they're going to lose their minds. Like I think that's his Avengers Assemble now. Because he said it so many times for years, he can't do that power now because Solo needs something on a psychological level. Why is he fighting him then? He's a jerk at the end?
Because he needs to be checked.
I check these fools. Acknowledge me.
Yeah. Like Solo's become so disrespectful in the last 6 months.
Disrespectful.
Yes, to the family.
I mean, you're right, but you said it's such like the insulting thing of it.
Yeah,
I mean, really rude, Solo.
But yeah, but I was totally wrong in what I thought. And then also like Cody said that like he's not going to get involved. This is not my fight. Yet he still comes out because Roman said it's still his WWE. Like I don't know, it's like you fell for the bait in some ways,
I love it.
I thought it was going to be Rock and Roman versus Solo and Jacob, and eventually Rock. But I don't think they can do that at a pay-per-view though, where you have Rock just not do anything. Or maybe you would have had Rock get attacked backstage and then he ends up coming out and destroying Roman. But I thought, like, where's Jimmy Uso? Like, how is that gonna play into it? And like, just even with the whole Survivor Series thing, like, and my initial prediction was gonna be Solo, Jacob, and the God against Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy. I feel like I'm going to be so wrong when it comes to that because I've been wrong so much in the last couple months.
I don't want to see Sami Zayn. That was a fun little side
He
thing.
was the honorary Oos.
It's like, do we want
Who
to
else
see
are you going to have then? Cody?
Yes. For now. Look, here's a question I have for you, though, in all honesty. Is it too early to start booking for WrestleMania?
No.
So when does WrestleMania season start from a writer's perspective?
We had this conversation with Jack like a week ago,
and we
all agreed. Jack George. And we all agreed, yeah, because it's only 6 months away. It's going to creep up in no time. Absolutely. And I feel like they're already started planting some seeds that we're going to see ends up culminating at WrestleMania.
And Rock has to be in the ring for this. again, mind you, Rock is like what 53 years old now. Like, do you still want to see him with that one match with Roman, or is that ship sailed after last year?
No, I still want to see it. And considering what we saw at Mania, like he still got it.
It won't be the same though. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean it won't be the same?
Well, The Rock is not going to kip up anymore. He can't.
I think he could.
Respectfully.
Bet on it.
Bet on what? That he can kip up?
Bet on that he can kip up.
What's the bet? I have to go to San Diego? I'm kidding. I love San Diego. It's a fun time.
No, maybe like Mariners tickets, since I plan on going to Seattle Mariners game.
You're wrong, because they have tickets are worth $9 in value games. Not a problem.
That's fine. I don't care.
Okay, so
but I want to sit on the field level. Like I want to catch a foul ball.
You are changing terms. So let's talk about this.
Maybe we can have Ricky come with us.
I think he just died an hour ago.
That's true.
So we have this Survivor Series War Games. As somebody who was anti-Survivor Series, I don't understand why they still try to graft War Games on it, but the War Games match itself may be amazing. Bloodline v. Bloodline was the talk. As of right now, with Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy off the table, and the event being 7 weeks away, do you even risk doing that or hot-shotting that War Games, or you try for something else?
I mean, if it's not that, I think it'll be Roman, Jimmy, or if Jimmy's off the table, but it'll be Roman and Cody, since it seems like, Cody having the lineage of the War Games, almost as if like he has to be involved, I guess you can say. And he'll probably because not to say that I don't want to make it feel like the WWE cares in any single way what social media says, but
Sure.
we've all seen kind of like Cody's title reign is underwhelming. He hasn't really had any meaningful feuds, whatever, But I feel like
disagree.
No, I disagree, but I'm saying like not to say they're doing it because of that, but at least if Cody is involved in the War Games match, that's one less championship feud that they have to worry about building up towards Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the fact that we're rolling to the fall season, typically the weakest part of the calendar, in my opinion. But this one seems pretty strong with Bad Blood in October and War Games in November. So.
Yeah, and we kind of I kind of saw it. I mean, I like the twists and turns of the show because as soon as that first segment ended, I in my mind, I'm sure a lot of people thought it too. Like, oh, I guess we're having a tag match at Bad Blood. But then when Cody said, "I want nothing to do with it," that's when I'm like, the wheels are spinning. Ooh, enter Rock. Like he didn't have to show up today.
Yeah.
But I was like, Roman just says, I made a phone call. I got a teammate. I'll let you know who it is next week. Whatever it is.
Last question about this. So this happened after Solo Sikoa took a pinfall loss. I mean, does that hurt any kind of prospect of this match being on a marquee to you at all, or somehow Solo can get his heat back?
No, I think it's because it's more so about the bloodline. I think as much as maybe he was affected by the loss of a championship match to the top guy in the company, apparently, I think some things just maybe a little bit more thicker than championship, and that's blood.
Oh, I like it. SmackDown on USA, new era, new logo. I love the S. I'm not sure if I love the SmackDown word mark, but I got a little heated earlier, but I'm always rocking with George. Before we wrap this up, I do believe it's time for some trivia.
Where's our drop?
We don't got one.
Trivia. I'll talk to Evan Mac. I always like the TK's Boudoir.
Mm-hmm.
TK's Boudoir.
No one gets that reference.
I was gonna say if you know, you know. But the answer to the trivia question, here's a little fun fact: is they went live in July, but they started on USA. I think that was the Mauro Ranallo era. I guess if I recall, that was when he started commentating for SmackDown for like a good year. But the main event of the very first, and I saw somebody got it. I'm not gonna sit there and act like I didn't see it. I saw it, but I don't want to spoil it to the end. But I saw somebody got it right. It was Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens in the main event of the very first SmackDown on the USA Network.
Man, Dean Ambrose's run was so forgettable. I just shout out to him though, and Moxley.
It's funny because like it's forgettable, but also like remember when he was like on the pre-show of a WrestleMania match as Intercontinental Champion against Baron Corbin?
Yeah, I remember that. A couple of things from the hit gallery here. Peter P says the new SmackDown theme sucks. Everything else is good. I I actually liked my wake up tone and my alarm clock was actually the old theme song they had on Fox. So I have to get used to that. We'll get used to everything else. I just kind of glad it's something different. Cole and Graves are good because they've been working together for like 10 years. Alicia Taylor's meh. I highly disagree. Although I'm not really sure where Mike Rome is. Is he on NXT? Because he hadn't been.
I think he's on NXT. But I actually did a few shows with Alicia Taylor back in the day.
Sure, she's amazing. But I didn't see Mike Rome at No Mercy either. So I'm not sure if he's okay. But anyway, yeah. So this is SmackDown, new era. I'm so glad that SmackDown lives another day. USA has a shot in the arm on Friday nights, and as we roll into next year with Raw going to Netflix, the next 2 weeks we got WWE programming all on one network, which it should have been in the first place. Thoughts about today's episode, my friend?
I thought it was a good show. I thought I feel like there was a lot to fit in, especially with the opening and the closing segment, it being revolved around the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes. But I feel like starting next week, we're going to see a little bit more talent sprinkled out throughout the show. Because where is AJ Styles?
Oh, yeah.
Seen him in a couple months.
I like how he lost in France and he took more time off than losing a Boneyard match. That's pretty sick. Yeah, okay. If Mike Rome had a baby, then I take that what I said. I just want to make sure he's okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't see your friends. Check on the homies if you can. That does it for us. Back on Monday with more Wrestling Inc. content. I think Triple J is in, or one iteration of Jack Farmer and Jimmy Corderas is going to be in there. Let's talk about Raw, and Wrestling Inc. keeps rolling. Let us know about what you think of the shows in the comments below. We read them all. We appreciate them all, because I like to talk to George about how I have so many haters in the chat.
I just want to know what happened to you and Jack in the parking lot.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, Jack told me to my face plenty of times that if I was ever in a fight, he won't come save me, and he doesn't. So if someone's ever beating up Jack, I'll be backstage at catering going like, that kind of looks like my well-coiffed friend. You know? All right, let's get out of here. Yo, enjoy your weekend, y'all. Hit that M3 button now.